Welcome to the Weather Gurus podcast for Saturday night, August 26, 2023. We're going to start out with the tropical update, and then we're going to work our way to the National Weather Service hazards for the United States, the lower 48. Please be sure to subscribe for the latest interpretation of weather as it happens in real time. Right now, we're looking at a satellite infrared loop of Hurricane Franklin. Winds are at 85 miles an hour. It reached strength in here. Now, it's a couple hundred miles east-northeast of the Turks and Caicos Islands, Providenciales, Turks and Caicos Islands here in the Atlantic Ocean, and is making a beeline towards the mid and North Atlantic. Could possibly impact Bermuda a little bit later on in the forecast period, but it'll be passing well to the west of Bermuda, and so it should be just a bunch of swells and maybe a few occasional squally showers from some of its outer bands, as Franklin is a pretty large and formidable system here. So what we're looking at here is we have Franklin here. Winds are 85 miles an hour, strengthening. That's a category 1 on the Saffir-Simpson scale. Pressure is down to 982 millibars. It is forecast to become a major hurricane, a category 3 hurricane, by the time it gets into Bermuda's vicinity or near Bermuda's vicinity. But like I said, it's expected to pass a couple hundred miles to the northwest of Bermuda, so that's good news, as it won't take a direct hit, and Bermuda is well fortified, as you know, to handle a lot of these storms or hurricanes anyway. So we have Tropical Depression 10. This is the one that everybody's been watching here, just easing its way off the Yucatan Peninsula. Winds are at 30 miles an hour. This is this advisory as of 7 p.m. Central Daylight Time, or 8 p.m. advisory, or intermediate advisory. The next full advisory from this Tropical Depression 10 will be at 11 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time from the National Hurricane Center, and it is expected to become our next system here. And this Tropical Depression 10 is meandering over the Yucatan Peninsula, so this is going to cause it to weaken slightly to a depression here, as you can see they've noted. But once it gets out into the warm Gulf waters, you know it's going to increase to a hurricane, category 1, by 1 p.m. Tuesday, possibly a category 2. We have to wait and see, and it's going to impact somewhere along the northern Gulf Coast of Florida here, or it could turn in early like Hurricane Ian did and hit that area between Fort Myers and Santa Barbara. That's yet to be seen. Okay, nothing is confirmed, but the movement is still about stationary, northwest at 1 mile an hour. But this is the cone of uncertainty. The cone is well uncertain out here on Tuesday afternoon through Thursday. Obviously, this is the last day. The further days you go out, the less uncertain the cone is. But right now, we definitely know we're going to have a tropical storm to a hurricane, a strong tropical storm to a hurricane, category 1 hurricane, by 1 a.m. Tuesday morning there, and that's depicted here in this chart beautifully here. So this is the key messages here. The Panhandle needs to prepare from Tropical Depression number 10. It's going to become a tropical storm by Sunday, by tomorrow, and conditions will be continuing to deteriorate for that area there. So for the Panhandle, you need to make your preparations for the storm. It's too soon to specify exact location, obviously, in these areas, but just monitor for updates. Now, for the other system out here, there's another little system of disturbance out here. There's not much going on out here. This one's only given a 20% chance. It's well 1,000 miles southeast of Bermuda. It's not going to develop too much. It's just a bunch of showers associated with a trough of low pressure. Only given a 20% chance of development through 7 days, and it's just not going to be nothing too much going on out here. So those are the 3 systems that we have right now, and there's nothing coming off Cabo Verde or the Cape Verde or West Africa right now. There's another wave trying to emerge. We'll worry about that next week coming up, probably Wednesday or Thursday, it'll emerge, and we'll see what it does. But right now, those are the 3 systems. In the Eastern Pacific, we have 100% chance of development for this disturbance. So this will be our next named storm here, probably by tomorrow as well in the Eastern Pacific. But it's heading away from land, away from the southern tip of Baja California. So not too much to worry about there, unlike what Hillary brought the week before. And in Hawaii, you look good. There's just a few tropical waves, well, a couple hundred miles to your south, but nothing named. So you're good on that. So now, the National Weather Service current hazards. You look here, it's basically just been hot for the south. This heat dome, high pressure has broken down, but it's still remaining hot. So anywhere from Dallas-Fort Worth, Houston, Shreveport, Beaumont, Lake Charles, okay, excessive heat warnings, red flag warnings, all along the Mississippi River Valley, from Greenwood, Mississippi, down to Jackson, Mississippi. So that I-20 corridor, I-10 corridor, and this Gulf Coast states is going to be hot. And then we have the heat advisories from the Panhandle of Florida up through the Black Belt of Alabama, so Montgomery, Mobile, Birmingham, up through Atlanta, Macon, Valdosta, Columbus, and Tifton, Georgia, down through Tallahassee, back up through Lake City, the I-10, I-75 corridor, Lake City, Gainesville, and that kind of stuff like that. So that's the good news. It's supposed to be a beautiful Sunday around for everybody else in the Northeast and upper Midwest. And over toward the West, we have that excessive heat warning in the Arizona area, the Rim Country, Grand Canyon, Phoenix, Tucson, Yuma, in through the Palm Deserts and Coachella valleys of Southern California. After all that rain, now you get an excessive heat warning. That's great because it can help dry up some of that moisture that you guys had, that mud that was on I-10 from Palm Springs to Indio and all that stuff. So that's good news for you guys down there. But back to the tropical update here. I just want to show you some other points of this storm here. We do have some storms here that are coming through the, if you look at the satellite imagery here for this system here, Franklin, I want to show you something here. Franklin was experiencing heavy wind shear, but as you can see here, courtesy of tropicaltidbits.com, the wind shear is relaxing, and that's what allowing it to strengthen here. So the storms are wrapping around the center tightly here, and the coldest cloud tops are forming near the center, and you can see the convection is increasing along the southwest and northeast quadrants of this system as it moves away from the Turks and Caicos Island. So Turks and Caicos Island is getting a strong northeast breeze right now, but it is absolutely fabulous weather that's going to be coming as the system is going to be pulling away from that area. And Invest 92L, as we can see a range of that there too, you can see it's being heavily infected by wind shear, and that's something that's going to be taking its toll on it there. And then we have some other storms out in the typhoons out in the out in the Western Pacific. This is Typhoon Sala here, and you can see it's very well formed. That eye is very well formed, and it's a typhoon here, and it's affecting the Philippines here. It's about to make landfall in Mindanao, the upper Philippines here, as you can see it here. Very powerful typhoon here. Typhoon Sinala. So that's what's going on there. Saola, excuse me. And so that's a very powerful typhoon. Prayers are with the people in the Philippines, northern Philippines, there, Mindanao Island, and etc. So that's what we have going on. And one more look at the tropical depression number 10 here. You can see it here on the Yucatan Peninsula here. And I want to point out some characteristics here. Let me see if I could pause it here for you in 1 second. Okay, there we go. This is the last frame of it. Okay, you can see here how it's disorganized bunch of showers. Most of the convection is well off to the east here, affecting Cuba. Islands here, affecting Jamaica. Cayman Islands is getting heavy rain right now, and the Yucatan Peninsula. So part of the system is on land, and part of this low pressure system is over the water, over the strait between Cuba and the Yucatan Peninsula, and that's why it's struggling to develop. It's stationary right now. Only movement is at northwest at 1 mile an hour. Once it emerges off that later on Sunday afternoon into the western Gulf of Mexico, that's when they expect a rapid strengthening and rapid development, as the center will be over warm water, relatively warm water, and there will be low wind shear over the eastern Gulf of Mexico. That's when it's expected to explode to a hurricane, possibly even a Category 2 hurricane, before making landfall somewhere along the northern Gulf Coast. It's too early to tell, as you know. But I'm just saying the overall structure of it right now is very disorganized. But you have to remember, Hurricane Ian started off the same way. It was very disorganized, down south of Grand Cayman and Cuba and the Western Caribbean, and then it got its act together once again to the Gulf. So there is precedence with this system to have rapid intensification as it gets into that eastern Gulf, even more so than what they're predicting right now. It could be a Category 2 or 3, who knows, major hurricane. But right now it's very disorganized because interacting with that Yucatan Peninsula, the circulation is, and it's not movement at all. It's kind of stationary. But once it emerges off, sometime Sunday, late Sunday afternoon, 3-4 o'clock p.m., look for it to start, rapidly intensifying and becoming that major system again. And remember, this is the I-name storm. It's going to get the I-name. I-known storms have been notoriously devilish, as you can tell with Ian and other storms in the past. So that's something to look out to for as well. Anyway, be blessed. I'll be coming back with more updates. Please be sure to subscribe to the Weather Guru, and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.